What if I told you there are Australians living 1,200 kilometres from the nearest hospital, where if the dirt road closes, life simply stops? I don't mean, oh, we only have one Woolworths. I mean people managing snake bites themselves because the flying doctor is 3 hours away by plane. Welcome to Australia's most isolated communities, where survival isn't a choice, it's a daily negotiation with the landscape. Australia is a country where 90% of the population refuses to live more than 30 minutes from a beach. We cluster around the coast like barnacles, leaving the interior, a landmass the size of continental United States, essentially empty. But some Australians reject that script entirely. They live in places where traffic means seeing 3 vehicles in a week, where the nearest petrol station is 500 kilometres away, where summer heat doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it becomes thermal isolation that stops work, threatens safety, and tests whether you're genuinely built for this. These aren't ghost towns. They're living experiments in human endurance. Some people thrive here, others break. And knowing the difference might save your life. Here are 5 of Australia's most isolated communities, and the people who refuse to leave. Town 1. Kiwirrkurra, Gippsland Desert, Western Australia. Population, 165. Here's what isolation actually means here. You're 1,200 kilometres east of Port Hedland and 700 kilometres west of Alice Springs. The nearest community is Kintor, 100 kilometres away across the Northern Territory border. It has a health clinic that can stabilise emergencies, but for a real hospital with surgical capacity, you're looking at Alice Springs, 700 kilometres away. When people talk about remote, this is what they mean. Kiwirrkurra is often called Australia's most isolated permanent settlement. The nature here isn't just harsh, it's biblical. The Gippsland Desert is 156,000 square kilometres of red sand dunes, spinifex grass, and heat that regularly exceeds 45 degrees Celsius. Summer days don't cool down. The silence is absolute. At night, you can hear the desert breathing, wind shifting sand, dingoes howling, the occasional crack of cooling rock. How people survive. Water comes from bores tapping the Great Artesian Basin. Power is 100% solar. There's no grid connection this far out. Supplies arrive weekly by plane, weather permitting. When the wet season hits, rare, but catastrophic when it does, roads become impassable mud for weeks. You bulk order everything because resupply might be a month away. The Royal Flying Doctor Service is your emergency room. If you're seriously injured, you manage the crisis yourself until the plane arrives, minimum 3 hours, often longer. Who thrives here? This is predominantly an indigenous community. The people here are Pintupi, and this is their traditional land. They're not surviving isolation. They're living connection to country that urban Australians will never understand. Extended family networks mean mutual support. Self-sufficiency isn't a lifestyle choice. It's embedded cultural knowledge. Who leaves? Young people seeking higher education. Families needing specialised medical care. Anyone who can't handle the psychological weight of absolute remoteness, where your nearest neighbour might be 50 kilometres away and going to town means a 700 kilometres drive. The humour. Traffic jams don't exist here. If you see 2 cars in a day, you're witnessing peak hour. Please don't fall asleep while driving. You'll have plenty of time to question all your life choices before someone finds you. Town 2. Cook, South Australia. The Nullarbor Plain. Population, 4 active shift workers at any given time. Yes, 4. Not 400. 4 human beings rotating through railway duty. You're standing on the longest straight railway in the world, 478 kilometres of track you can allegedly see from space, looking like a very fine pencil line across the desert. The nearest major town? Ceduna, 5 hours drive away. Adelaide is 1,138 kilometres. Sydney is 1,984 kilometres. Cook was built in 1917 when the Trans-Australian Railway needed maintenance crews. At its peak, it had 200 residents, a hospital, a school, a swimming pool, even a golf course. Then diesel locomotives arrived in the 1960s. Modern trains don't need constant maintenance. The population collapsed. Today, Cook is a railway ghost town with 4 permanent residents, all employed by Pacific National to service the Indian Pacific train that stops twice weekly. Water is delivered by train. Food is delivered by train. Everything arrives by train. The nature. The Nullarbor isn't actually treeless, that's a myth, but it is profoundly empty. Summer temperatures hit 45 degrees C+. Dust storms in spring can block out the sun. The landscape is flat enough that you can watch the Earth's curvature. At night, dingoes howl, and the stars are so bright they cast shadows. How people survive? You don't live here, you endure shifts. The 4 residents rotate on railway schedules. Supplies are pre-ordered and arrive on the Indian Pacific. Medical emergencies mean helicopter evacuation to Ceduna or Port Augusta, both 5+ hours away. There's a historical hospital building, but it's condemned. If you're crook, you'd better not be in Cook. Who thrives here? Hardcore introverts. Railway obsessives. People who genuinely hate small talk and find traffic, 3 cars per day, oppressive. Meteorologists who love data more than civilization. Who leaves? Everyone, eventually. This isn't a town, it's a duty station. The longest-serving resident, Murray Sims, lasted decades, but is memorialized on a water tank mural now. You can't raise a family here. There's no school, no community, no future. You work your contract and leave. The humor, Cook's unofficial motto, if you're crook, come to Cook, but please don't, because our hospital's been condemned since the 90s. Town 3. Birdsville, Queensland. Population, 110. Located 1,590 kilometres west of Brisbane at the edge of the Simpson Desert. This is where Australia's interior becomes surreal. You're 10 kilometres from the South Australia border. The nearest major city is Adelaide, I guess? But that's over 1,200 kilometres south through desert that'll kill you if you break down unprepared. Birdsville holds Queensland's all-time heat record, 49.5 degrees Celsius, recorded on Christmas Eve 1972. Summer days are so hot that work stops. The annual rainfall is 133 millimetres, but in 1914, only 14 millimetres fell. In 1917, 659 millimetres fell. Water is chaos here. The nature, you're on the edge of the Simpson Desert, 65,637 square miles of red sand dunes and oxidized rock. Dust storms during spring are violent enough to block roads. Flies test your sanity. The Diamantina River floods unpredictably, transforming the desert into temporary wetlands that attract pelicans and seagulls. Yes, seagulls, 1,000 kilometres from the ocean. How people survive. Birdsville has a primary health centre, but serious medical issues require evacuation. The Royal Flying Doctor Service operates from here. This was one of the original RFDS bases established in the 1920s. Water comes from the Great Artesian Basin, geothermal bore at 97 to 99 degrees Celsius. Power comes from Australia's first successful geothermal power station, which opened in 2013, though it occasionally runs on diesel backup when the system needs maintenance. Supplies arrive via the Birdsville Track, a 514 kilometres dirt road from Marrie, South Australia. When rain hits, the track becomes impassable mud. You bulk order fuel, food, and essentials because resupply can be weeks away. Conclusion. These places demand self-sufficiency, heat tolerance, and comfort with genuine solitude. If you need traffic, overpriced coffee, and 24/7 medical care, don't come here. But if you're escaping urban density, seeking peace that only absolute remoteness provides, and willing to trade convenience for freedom, these communities will welcome you. The question isn't whether you could survive here, it's whether you'd want to. Which of these towns would you pick? Or would isolation break you within a week? Drop a comment below. I want to know if you think I'm insane for even suggesting this.